Hey, third time's a charm, right? So we're going to try this one more time. We've been having a little bit of technical difficulty this morning. I've got a guest with me today. We're going to get right to it. Parker Pfister has been one of my creative mentors for years. He was on episode 3 of Generator years back. When I first got this started, it looked way different, believe me. Sounded different, acted different, but we've remained friends regardless of how that interview went. So he's here with me again. I'm going to bring him right on stage. We're not going to try to do anything fancy. Parker, get in your chair, man. There.
Man, I'm
You know,
trying. I just now something else is going on.
this is.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, if anyone ever wanted to get into YouTube streaming, just don't do it.
Yeah,
Just you'd be better off
yeah.
going outside with a coloring book because that's about where I'm at right now. There has been all sorts of technical difficulties this morning. I'm trying to figure all this out and get this going in a way that feels repeatable because I want to do this more often. But the gods seem to be against me this morning. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh,
Mm, feeling the same?
in this, yeah, in this moment, I'm doing okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's reset, shall we? Uh,
Okay.
talk to me about what's going on. Talk to me about what's going on. I haven't talked. God, the last time I talked to you was what? About a month and a half ago, thereabouts.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
it's been
been
quite.
a long time and too long.
And I've been.
Let's see. So in that time, uh, well, I mean, as a city, we're still rebuilding
Yeah.
and trying to dig out and all that. And as a country,
Well,
burning down, I don't know. As a
getting.
human, I'm evolving and have uh, have been like a creative place that is bountiful. Wow.
It
Yeah.
seems like you've been
Yeah, it's
doing
been
a
good. I've
ton of
been
work.
working my ass off. What's
Yeah.
that?
It says it seems like you've been doing a ton of work. It like
Ton of work, none for pay. I've had four paying jobs. No, sorry, five now since Helene hit, which was September last year. Yikes. So
is
we're kind of crushed down here, it seems. Or I am. Maybe it's just me.
I well
I
I
have
can
no idea.
I can imagine, right, with the way that Helene hit, that people have a lot more things on their minds than just kind of portraits. That being said, I've been seeing you go around and you show me some of the images that you've made. Like, are you just pushing, and I'm not saying like this has to be anything formal business wise, but are you just saying, well, I've got this camera, I know I can do this. We're not necessarily doing paid jobs, but there's an obligation, a responsibility, a chance for me to cover this and give back in a different way. Is that really
Yeah.
where the heart is? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been doing since, the hurricane was even coming, not even here yet, like the days before, kind of documenting the state of where we were and the state of, being prepared, which we could never be prepared. Oh, and by the way, we had a big torrential rainstorm yesterday, and we have more floods, and a mountain came down on US 40 again, closing off Asheville. So this just happened yesterday. So it's mayhem, it seems.
Is has there been anything rebuilt, or is it really still
Oh,
in
sure. I
kind of
mean,
cleanup
yeah,
mode? Or
yeah, it's cleanup mode, it's rebuilding mode, but the problem is, um, we all of our federal aid got cut,
right?
and well, we didn't really get much to begin with, and now most of the insurance companies didn't pay because there's some, I don't know, loophole. Even my insurance, when I was like, I need to get my roof fixed, and they crushed my car, and we lost nine big trees on the property, and pulled up the driveway from the tree roots and all this stuff, and my insurance is like, sorry, you can try to turn it in, but since it was a tropical storm, it doesn't, it would be, you'd have to have flood insurance. And I'm like, no, this is from the wind and the tornadoes. Yeah, but it's all kind of connected. So that's how they're getting out of everything. So there's so many homes here and businesses that are just boarded up, and some of them aren't even boarded up. They're just still just in the state that they
Right.
are because they have no insurance to fix it, and there's no aid that has come in from the federal. We've got a lot of private organizations and church organizations that have come in and really helped out and been an amazing force. And so many people out, on their excavators and bulldozers, still like, it's hard to wrap your head around. It's been what, 9 months,
Right.
and they're still like digging houses out and getting into places. And it's what made this flood, this hurricane really unique, was the terrain that we're in. And, all the hollers washed out, and like whole communities just down to the bedrock. Like there's not even a hint that there was a house ever there or a community even there. Wild.
I remember you.
So we're still trucking along, and everybody's pretty positive, really. Yeah, zombie like positive, but positive.
I remember you showed me that picture of the forest. It's either at your property or just off the property, and it looked like a nuclear bomb had hit it. Right, just trees down everywhere, and
Yeah,
it was really hard to fathom. Right, and here we are, almost a year later, and it's still kind of like it happened yesterday. And not to
yeah,
make this a big bummer of an episode, but it seems like when in the absence of any help whatsoever from insurance agencies or the government, it seems like everyone is down there is like, fuck it, we'll make this happen.
yep,
And a little bit of redneck ingenuity, a whole bunch of excavation equipment, and actual communities coming together rather than just
yeah,
waiting to get saved by somebody else. Now, do you feel like
yeah,
that has, right? So we went through this big cultural thing where you've got red versus blue, white versus black. You've got, just the country in division after COVID, things getting ripped apart. Do you feel like people realize how much bullshit that all is and are now just kind of coming together? And, or do all those scars still remain? And there's, even amongst helping each other, there's a bit of that division.
oh, yeah, it's
Is that just
always here,
insurmountable? Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's just dumb. I just want to be humans and,
Yeah.
be a good neighbor. And yeah, but I mean, that's, you see a lot of that here. There, you know, some of the hubs, like during the storm, were churches really stepped up and
Yep.
got a bunch of stuff. And then there are like some people that are like, oh, the churches are, oh, they're so terrible, they're just trying to get their hooks into everybody and get them into the church and by helping them out. And it's like, okay, can we just not,
Could we
like, what?
not?
Okay, whatever. But they just gave you like toilet paper that we can't get or water that we didn't have.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it was a couple months.
Yeah.
Well, it was like what, 3 months without water here, and
That's unreal.
a solid month without electricity. And we had gas the whole time, which was nice, so we could cook. Uh, and then, the communication took out all the cell phone towers for about 3 weeks before we had any service here. Maybe even longer than that. It's all a blur. I have no idea.
How
Actually,
did
I don't even know
how,
if I made it through.
you didn't? You're not even here
I
right
did.
now. No,
Yeah,
this is
could
this is a
be.
fever dream that you're having. You're actually on a muddy
Yep.
bank at some place. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Um,
Yeah.
did you find, right? So as men, we always want to be prepared. Um, did you feel like you were, I mean, not that you can prepare for what happened, but did you feel like, all right, well, I've got a week's worth of food. I've got 4 rolls
Oh
of
yeah.
toilet paper. Like you had enough preparation in place to kind of that
Yep.
it wasn't an absolute crisis. Because I know you have your son and your partner, and you know,
Yep. Yep. And we had Homer, my transit van that I've outfitted, so
yeah.
that was our electricity block.
Mm.
So I could
Okay,
just
that
go
makes
out
sense.
and
Yeah,
start that. I had
that makes
spare
sense.
fuel. Um, One thing I didn't have was a generator because it's always have the van
Sure.
when electricity goes out or whatever. But for that extended time, it was really wearing on those batteries. So
Yeah.
a friend of ours gave us a generator to use for a while, and that was super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all in all, we had kind of a good time. My stepwife, no, my ex-wife. Wow.
It's
My
that kind of day.
ex-wife My ex-wife and son, who live, my son lives here half the time anyway. But my stepwife, shit, my ex-wife moved in, and so she stayed here for a couple weeks
Yeah.
because she's not as prepared for all this.
Yeah.
And we had great time. Played cards every night, all of us, and
That's great.
by the candlelight, and yeah, it was fun. But
Now,
enough about that.
well, I was going to say, I was going to kind of transition out of that and say, all right, well,
Oh,
I know that you've been going around and taking pictures and documenting a lot of this stuff. You talked about some of the things you're pulling out of the river and making dresses from these big
oh
plastic
my
sheets and right. So tell me
God,
a little bit
yeah.
more about that because last time we talked, you said you had been going down the riverbank and you're seeing all this,
Mhm.
man-made detritus floating around, and you
Yep,
started pulling at these long pieces of like factory wrapping plastic, I'm assuming it is, or something to that effect,
yep, yeah,
and it was like a quarter mile long. And you said you were going to pull
yeah.
something out and make a dress. So that's literally the last that we talked. That's as much as I know. What
Oh
happened?
gosh, this is a
Yeah.
perfect day then for you.
Yeah.
So I did end up making the dress. It just so happens that um, Professional Photographers of America was here doing a 2-day documentary on me while I made the dress.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then now that the dress has been made, I've entered it in a few shows, and it just got accepted into the Madison County Arts Council, which Madison County is Marshall. That town got completely devastated, like
Yeah.
wiped, like oh my gosh, it's crazy. And it's just now trying to spring back to life. There's just a few businesses in the whole city that are open. The rest of them are all boarded up. So that's going to be on display in 40 by 50. Made it, and it's downstairs drying right now, and I could probably take you down the steps.
Oh
I
my
don't
God, that'd
know.
be amazing if you could.
Is
Yeah.
that smart? Okay, let's see.
Are you going to
So
lose signal
maybe
between your living room and your
I don't
basement?
know.
Oh, all
I
right.
don't know. Stay tuned.
All
Stay
right.
tuned. But maybe this is the reason that you're gonna have to talk to me because I can't see what I'm shooting, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
On this phone. So I'm going down the basement. You still got me?
Yep, you're getting a little hard to hear
Okay.
because you're away from your microphone on the computer. Your AirPods aren't working all that well. But let's do this. Rotate around. Holy shit.
Can you see it?
I can see it. Yeah, absolutely. So Parker's he's a little bit away from his microphone, so he can't really hear it, but that
What
looks
about now?
incredible. Well, you're getting closer to your computer and your
Yeah,
microphone
yeah.
and
Could you see it at all?
absolutely could see it. Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
And
Nice.
that's stunning.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it.
So tell me about it. Like, tell me about what you did, right? Or should we wait for the PPA documentary and let that
Oh no,
explain
no.
everything?
I mean, it's it's my standard. No, well, it's not standard, but I do this Maleficent Couture uh line of fashion that I build these dresses out of plastic, which that's the Maleficent part, right?
Hmm.
Because it's just not good for our planet. So I've been building these dresses for what, 10 years now, and it seemed like this was the next step or maybe the preparation to make this. I don't know. Maybe those were all practice to get me to here because this is kind of my, it feels like the the crescendo anyway of this art form. So um we floated down the river and picked up a bunch of plastic, like industrial bubble wrap to sheeting to anything plastic, and we hauled a lot of metal and everything else out, and um, yeah, just kind of create this dress. And as we saw one of the bubble wraps that had been spun in the river, like so long, like football fields long, I just saw this big octopus tentacle, and that's where the idea came from for the kind of a kraken or
Yeah.
um, the octopus, and it's kind of a personification of the maybe the future of what we're going to become from this storm. And like it's the idea that, and this there's a whole series of these that I'm working on. This is just one, um that we're what the storm has turned us into, kind of thing. So on the back wall I painted this giant octopus tentacles and then built the dress on the platform in front, so it gives this full illusion kind of thing. I don't know.
Do you,
Blah
so
blah blah.
right. So it's as you take that photo and you come up with this concept, right, outside of the main concept, like this is going to be cool. This will tie right into Maleficent Couture. Did you think then, like, ooh, let's continue this series, or this is really what North Carolina feels like, or did you start to develop that idea for that, continuation of this after you took the shot? And you were like, oh, wow, this is going to open up all new possibilities. Or has it always just
Oh
kind of
no, no,
lingered in
no.
the back of your mind?
Yeah, I've been working on the idea behind all of this
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to yeah, keep talking, and I'm gonna look for something here.
Okay, cool. While you're on Amazon and so it's been really interesting, right? I've also seen on Instagram, and I know how much you love social media. I know how much you love
Oh
being on
man,
there,
love
interacting
it so much.
and posting and coming up with new stuff all the time to stay relevant. I know that that's really just deep in your being. Just the fiber of your makeup, right? Um,
Yes,
no, I
sarcasm,
actually
sarcasm.
sarcasm. So I've noticed that you have actually been posting a lot more lately. So I see the effort. And if no one else says it, I'm going to say it to you as your friend. Good job, man. Like what I'm starting to see
Dude,
is a lot of your older work, which I forgot about, after I've seen how many thousands of your images, right? There are some that just really stick out. And then I see new versions or new elements of the series that I hadn't seen before. And
right?
that's really cool. And I love the fact that you're
Yeah.
putting how you did it, what camera it was on, what film you were using, the pain in the ass
Sometimes,
that it
yeah,
was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, tell me about some of that. How are you feeling about, kind of reviving the old work?
Well, it's I've had this issue that I'm still dealing with about sharing my work.
Yeah.
And it comes from a selfish uh it comes from a selfish side of me that I mean, I go back to everything I do for myself first, and I get pretty hard with that. And like, no, I just made this for me. I want to sit with this. Like, I made it, it is helping me through life. And, I've always said that photography is my therapist. It's gotten me through everything. I deal with anxiety. I do an anxiety project around myself and running electricity through my body to see what that looks like on silver gelatin pit, like all the stuff, right? And it's all kind of meant for me. And so I have a hard time sharing it because it's very personal, and I don't want to put it into the world. Um, maybe, I don't know. I've never really talked. I mean, I've talked about this, but this morning it feels like, well, maybe I was feeling like it could, if somebody says something dumb about it, it's gonna lessen the experience for me, which wouldn't be the case. But I think there's a part of us as humans that maybe leaks in there a little bit, right? But I will say that sharing, so I'll if I go do a shoot, I won't share the best photos. I'll share the second or third best photos in my eye, right?
Yeah.
And so that's been my MO forever. And so people see something, it's like, oh, what? Oh, that's kind of like that. Oh, and this one's amazing. And it's like, yeah, but I like this one's for me.
Yeah.
Or this one's for my future, and I don't want to ruin the experience when it's in some gallery or in some museum or in some book somewhere. I don't want to ruin the experience of that first time seeing it is on some dumb social media network, and that's the way I think of that. But I also understand that I can't have the reach of telling people about a show or a book or a print without that social media reach. So I think, yeah.
It's
So I've been putting a lot of more work into it. I've been sharing actually some of the top photos that I wasn't going to share, and it's been really rewarding. Like I was stuck at 8,200 for and it would go like 100 or 200 this way or that way
right, right,
for about 5 years,
right.
like completely stuck.
Yeah.
And one day I saw this guy, he had friended me, and all the posts for like 3 days I saw were hit. Like I'd scroll down four and it'd be one of his, and I'd scroll down another four and it'd be one of his. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, how is he doing that? How am I seeing all of his work? And so I went to his page, and this guy posts like 15 or 20 photos a day,
Yeah.
like just bombards it for like a week. And I'm like, well, that's fascinating. Maybe I'll try that. Only I'm not going to do 15. Maybe I'll just do three a day and see what happens. And I did three a day for, I don't know, 4 days or something like that. And then pretty regularly, I post almost every day now, and sometimes multiple, sometimes not. And like this morning, it turned to 10,800 in a matter of 5 months, I think.
Right.
5 or 6 months, a couple thousand new followers and tons of interactions. So for me to get like one of the posts is 392,000 views, which is a lot for me. I mean, that's a ton for me.
Yeah. It's time for
So
anybody. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm getting a lot of reach out there and a lot of really positive and introductions to a lot of new people, which is really cool. Really cool.
And
Yeah.
it's the thing I love about talking to you about social media, just because I know we're kind of cut from the same cloth about how it's the necessary evil. If I could live without it or do what I do without it in any way, shape, or form, I would throw my phone
Yep.
out of the car, right? But
Yep.
here we are, ironically, talking to a social media app. So when it comes to posting, the thing that I love is that you're doing this with still images. You don't put out your filmmaking work, your conceptual videos. You don't do any of that. You put out your black and white paper neg stuff. You put out your Ilford stuff. Like you just put out all of these still images, which I think in this day where we feel like we have to do everything with video, that there is
Yeah.
something so pure about putting out images that are impactful. Not here I am, here's the croissant that I got for breakfast, and here I am in my cute dress. Here's the outfit of the day, fit check, right? So
Right.
you're putting out stuff that means something to you, and the followers that you gain. I was just kind of doing the mental math. If in 100 days you've gained 2,000 followers, let's say, that's 20 new followers a day. 20 new people a day are discovering your work,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah.
for
And
any
that's
of us,
about what it's been.
yeah, for any of us that
Yeah.
do anything, to find 20 people, period, that and are interested in our stuff, that's a big deal. And to be doing that on a day in and day out basis with an attitude of, well, fuck it. Like, this is the stuff that I do, right?
Yeah.
It's actually really refreshing because, all we do is hear, you've got to have this method and you've got to have this workflow and you've got to post this time a day and do all these. And I think it's just a testament to none of us know what we're doing. No one
Right.
has an idea. The algorithm is going to algorithm and it's going to serve you up to people whether you control it or not. And
Yeah.
I think it actually relieves a lot of pressure from people when they hear others doing things the way that they probably approach it as well, which is, I'm just going to throw this out there, see what happens.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where I've tried to get to, right? I'm not as voluminous in terms of work production as you are. I don't electrocute myself for fun most of the time. But
You did mention nipple clamps earlier.
but
And
I
that's
did
a
mention
good,
nipple
that's a
clamps
good,
earlier.
that's a good start right there.
And
Yeah.
here's the best part. People are going to go back through this and watch it over and over looking for that.
And they'll never find it
They'll
because
never
it's on
find
the
it.
other one.
So you never know, right? So
You never know.
but I love the fact that you're doing that. One of the things that I saw you did post recently was some photos you were taking of your buddy. Is it Tyler, the musician?
Yeah, Tyler Ramsey.
Tyler Ramsey. And
Yep.
there was like a dance component to it. Was this a performance
Oh my
art piece? Yeah, tell me about this. I
Dude.
saw that and I didn't get a chance to talk to you all at all about it.
It was unreal. So I was brought in on this project like 2 years ago, right? And Tyler reached out to me. He's like, "Man, do you have any ideas for this?" Like, I'm doing this performance art piece, and it's all kind of, I'm playing guitar, and and there's this modern dance around, and it's about this traveler coming through the mountains and gathering songs from the mountains. Um, and it's kind of sexy, it's kind of mysterious, it's kind of spooky, it's all this stuff. So he's like, "Will you just come to practice and see if you have any ideas?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it's on a proper theater, right? And a proper stage
Yeah.
theater. And so I went to a practice, and I was like 10 minutes in and was bawling. Like, oh my God, this is the most incredible thing. What? And it's like, these people are flying with cables and like all this stuff. And they're just at this point just trying all this stuff out, and they're kind of improvising almost right at the beginning. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool. And so immediately I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. And this is, there's no pay or anything.
Right.
And I don't know why I have to say that. It's so weird. I need to check myself on that.
I'm going to ask you about that later, but I'll check you on that. But
Yeah.
I'm just going to write that down.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I like it more because I didn't get, I don't know. Anyway, so Tyler and I went out, and we filmed a bunch of forest scenes that were all out of focus, and all like really slowly moving through the forest,
Mm,
like pretty wildly out of focus. So it's just kind of this world, this land of bokeh, like
mhm.
just this. And went in the evening, and the sun's coming through the pines, and so all this is projected like 40 feet in the background on the screen. So it becomes the background for this whole theatrical event that's happening. And so, the part where the birds are flying, and we didn't even know, I don't think at that point. Oh yeah, I guess we did. We knew about there were going to be these bird people. And I was like, it'd be really cool to just lay on my back and just spin the camera over the canopy or through the canopy looking up into the sky. And yeah, so we did all this, and that's projected on the background, and it just was magical. It's incredible.
How long was
So
it?
beautiful. About an hour and a half.
Wow.
About an hour and a half. So there was a lot of footage we got. And that day was the day we went up to the mountain, and there was a rattlesnake crossing the road, and I tried to get the rattlesnake off the road so he wouldn't get hit. And then when we came back down, the rattlesnake had gone back onto the road and gotten hit. So we stopped and picked up the rattlesnake and put it in a Trader Joe's paper bag in the back. Like it's still like it just dead. And Tyler was like kept looking over his shoulder the whole time. He's like, there's no way to close this bag. And I'm like, he's dead. He's like, are you sure he's dead? So I ended up making a bunch of projects out of that
Yeah.
rattlesnake that we found. And yeah, it was really cool. It was a great experience.
Now, from a nerdy standpoint, did you do all that with your XT5, with the Fuji XT5, all that filming, or did you use something specific? As you're going out in
Uh,
I just know you travel so minimally, right? If you're going out
yeah,
and you're filming in the forest, what were you using?
no, I used the new RE Flex that
Okay.
it's like $260,000 camera.
Yeah.
And I ran that rig. No, I didn't. It was the XT5. Yeah. 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 I had a crew of 12 and helicopters. No, I just had a pocket camera and
I
my
was just,
XT5.
I
You're like,
wasn't,
oh, okay. Yeah.
when you, no, when you said I was just like, I'm thinking immediately, I'm like, that's unlike you. I'm like, I would have expected,
That would be, yeah. That
I
would be
thought you'd be out
unlikely.
there just like sketching stuff and doing a flip book, right? You're
Yeah, exactly.
so
There
retro.
you go. I
Uh,
love it.
but no, that sounds amazing. And this is one of the things that I love is that you're never afraid to kind of take on these weird little projects and just see where they go, right? And
Yeah.
from you did Tyler's album covers and stuff too, right? Wasn't
Well, I I did, but they went a different direction for the album cover. So it's always it turned into all of his PR
yeah,
photos. So
yeah,
it's not the album cover that we were hoping for.
got it.
Um, yeah, yeah. The
So
producers put the kibosh on that.
yeah, well, it happens.
Yeah,
Creative directors.
yeah,
Um,
right.
so let's go back to that whole no pay thing, right? Because I'm going through a similar thing right now where I don't know if it's self value. I don't know if it's me being a shitty business person. I don't know necessarily where it's coming from because I'm afraid to break it down because of what I'm going to find in myself. So you
Hmm.
had mentioned, you've had 5 paying jobs in whatever, a year and a half, something
Yeah.
like that, right? And you did this and you actually mentioned, oh, I got no pay for this thing. As long as I've known you, you've never been someone to be like, the definition poster boy of capitalism or commercial
Oh no.
success. You've
Right.
been the artist that bumblefucks his way through the dark and then suddenly you're in the Louvre, or
Hmm.
wherever. And I mean that in the most respectful way. It's just the money part is not a focus for you, whereas so many other
Right.
people
It's
are
not.
like, I want to create retail art. So
Yeah.
in that, you know,
Retail art. Ugh.
oh, but I'm just
Oh
saying
my God,
it's
that's weird. Like just when you said that, it just made me, yeah, made me shudder.
it's cringe inducing, right? And it's really funny
Yeah.
because it's I've been deconstructing my own business and what is it that I like to do. And the more I strip back, and you've known this, we've had these conversations. The more I strip back, the better I feel about things. But at the same time, that thing in my head is going, are you just getting lazy? Are you just trying to be contrarian? Are you trying to,
Mhm.
buck the system because you don't like to play the game? Therefore, you're only going to do these raw portraits? Or is it really what you're into? And is there a market for it? Because I have to put a roof over my head, and I don't have in me the ability to let go of that capitalism, right? I need to pay for a studio. I need to pay for my house. I need to do all these things. Therefore, I feel like I either have to do the retail art or I have to do art, or as we say in the Northeast, at. And I can't seem to reconcile the two. And you've
Yeah.
always reconciled the two, right? So where where does that feeling come up for you? Like you said, oh, I didn't get any pay, and then you checked yourself. Why?
Yeah, it's like I don't know why I even had to say that. I guess
Right.
that's, I'm real cautious about words I use until I'm not, and then I put my foot in my mouth. But I because I seem to offend a lot of people sometimes, a lot of the time, and I
Really?
don't understand it, the words. Like it's so weird, so weird. And I can't keep up with what word is offending today,
Right.
but it's actually the preferred nomenclature the following Tuesday. So, um, old man problems. Old man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, for example, this is a great segue into both things here. I am concerned about money at this point. It has been a struggle for sure this year, not knowing like even how to get the mortgage paid. And truth be told, last month a charity paid my mortgage because I couldn't pay it because I can't get work here and I don't understand what's happening. I've worked so hard on the social media part, thinking that that is going to help me. Like, if I have all these new followers and all this beautiful interaction, like if I launch uh, for example, a Father's Day bourbon session,
I thought that was brilliant.
bourbon portrait, I love the idea. Even though I haven't had a drink since January. I I thought it was a great idea. I had probably 30, I'll be conservative,
Sure.
25 photographers reach out to me and say, this is an amazing idea. I freaking love this idea. I had zero interest, not a single, not a single lead, not a single anything.
Hmm.
And the instant I put on Instagram and or Facebook that I'm offering something, my numbers went from 30,000 views, like in the back end, the insight you can look, to like 300. Like Instagram and Facebook saw that I was trying to make money
Mhm.
and cut it
Mhm.
clearly. I mean, I guess because the posts before that and the posts after that are way high. And I'm using the same powerful photograph that I've posted before that has gotten, and it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I put all this time into it, and for fucking what? Bucks. Sorry, I did I was that outside?
Are those the words that offend people?
Fucking fucks.
Fucking fucks.
Fuck those fucking fucks.
Uh, you know,
Fuckers.
man, it's such a thing, right? I saw an article yesterday which really made me angry, and it ties into this. Is that there was an article that came out that said Meta learned when teenage girls were deleting selfies off of their profiles and then immediately served them beauty ads. These are teenage girls that like might take a selfie and post it and then take it
Gross.
down, and they figured out how to know what accounts those are and then serve them ads for beauty products. And
Mhm.
that to me, is such an extreme, disgusting example of what goes on in the social media world. And, you know, back it up with sources, Matt. Where are the receipts? I don't have them. I was scrolling. I don't know. There's an article out there. Could have been fake, could have been real, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. But the fact that you just said, "Hey, you made an offer." Oh, yeah, you're going to make an offer? Pay us. Pay us to advertise it or we're not going to send it to anybody. And that's the
Yeah.
most disgusting part of this, right? Is that we're trying to use these platforms, which we're not under any obligation to use. We're trying to put things out and we're assuming that we're going to be able to do it for free. And it's never that case. And we're doing it because we feel like it's the only option out there. Because you could just as easily go around Asheville and staple flyers to telephone poles that are on the ground, but you could staple things on
Yeah.
telephone poles and publicize the same way and get as much reach as you're getting through social media. Probably more and more
Probably
interest.
more.
Probably
Yeah.
more, right?
I just talked about that, yeah, kind of guerrilla advertising and getting back to that. And I've been out a fair bit more,
Yeah. Yeah.
like being very public, going to a lot of shows, going to,
Well,
yeah.
there's something else I wanted to ask you about with that, right? So here's my random train of thought is that we all feel obligated that we need to use social media. I was watching my friend Josh Beaton, who was in New York yesterday. He was getting portfolio reviews for some of his work, right? He's trying to get more into fashion and more commercial work. So he's doing all these portfolio reviews and he's putting himself out there and he's brave. And I couldn't be more in awe when someone does that, right? Because they're
Yeah, those
offering
are,
themselves up to the gods of criticism. And it's a
yeah.
hardcore thing. You've been through it, right? So,
Yeah.
so I'm watching him do that. And I start thinking, in that world, the world that we kind of aspire to, this Oz, this land across the mystic ocean where galleries lie and where the art
Yeah.
world lies, right? Versus those of us that are slumming it in the retail art ghetto.
Hmm.
That mystical land of elves and princesses where you get your art into galleries. Are those
Which
folk?
take more than half of your money, by the way.
I'm not even talking about the
Yeah.
money, but
Yeah, I know. It's just like careful what we dream for,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But are those folks even looking at things on social media, or are they so insular in the world of like, no, artists come to us and we make our very, very, very curated selections. We're not basing things off of what we see on Instagram. And I'm not saying that there's not a chance that people could see stuff. I'm just, I'm wondering, are we trying to reconcile two different worlds that will never collide? Right? Are we trying to put things out there and there's a ceiling of viewer that we will bump our heads against and we'll never get to that next level? I don't say this to be defeatist. I'm just saying like the
Yeah.
worlds are so different. Is there a way to cross from one into the other, or do you just have to dedicate yourself to one world, or like the art world or the retail social
Yeah.
media regular muggle
And
world?
I think you do have to dedicate yourself, especially today. Like it's so, after going like full, more of the art world, what, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And but what's happening, what I'm seeing now, like on the social media platforms, are all the cash grabbing open calls
Oh yeah.
that are happening. And it's like, be known, be this, get your work seen, get in a gallery, do this. pay $45 a photo to enter, and people are spending a lot of money, and I'm, in that realm. I'm very particular what I do my open calls to. Um, that and I guess if I had some advice, it would be like, well, look up the open call, see if it's a brick and mortar,
Yeah.
or if they're just going to do an online gallery, which it's lost in the shuffle of all
Right.
that too,
Right.
right? You
Right.
you want eyes on real photographs, not pixels, and it's there's just so many that. And then look at who the juror is, or the jurors, and what are their credentials, what's their CV, where have they been, what have they seen, and you can weed them out pretty quickly. I think going through, and it's just like, oh, okay, clearly this is a cash grab, that and they're making shit tons of money, and there's all these new galleries popping up that are using this method to fill their gallery with work. And it's I don't know, like, the jurors seem to not always have the credentials I feel that they should have to be a juror for a show. But for some small gallery that's just starting out and doing this, maybe that's fine. I don't know. Fuck.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I'm just, making my way in the world today.
Yeah. I mean, there's so
It's
many
everything you got. Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit here and listen to your wonderful singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but
Right.
I think, in there is all the variables that none of us can control. We can't predict
Hmm.
what people are going to like or not like. I've walked into galleries and I'm looking around, and I will never look at another artist and be like, your work is shit. But there's a lot of artists that I'll look at and be like, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand why this is in a gallery. And maybe that's the tism just going off on,
Sure.
you know, but I just kind of look at it and I go, okay, not for me. It's for somebody
Yeah.
or it wouldn't be here, right? It's
Yeah.
obviously an
Great art
accomplished
is not
artist.
for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's not what this is debate about. But I just kind of look at it and I go, all right, are we just not reconciling in our own brains what it is that we want to do? And I go back and forth on this all the time. There are pieces that I've made that I love that, again, like you, will never see the light of day because they're for me.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff that I'm really proud of that I could put in front of any sort of juror or, portfolio review, and they'd be like, you brought me this, right? And like, there's just no telling. There's just no telling about it.
Yeah.
But, in that vein of artists that I love and I respect and that you turned me on to, Frank Oakenfels.
Oh
Is it
man.
now?
Yep.
You know Frank, right? And
Yeah.
whenever his stuff comes across my feed, and I'm looking at it over here right now, whenever I look at it, and what I'm going to do, let's see if we can do this. I'm going to bring, let's see, is this going to work for us? All right. So I will just kind of bring Instagram over here. I'll close all this other stuff that people are probably reading. And look at his work. Now, there is stuff in here. So FWO3 on Instagram, if you want to check it out. There is work in here that, to me, for example, is so powerful that you look at it and you go, I'm not going to create something like that. Nor am I meant to, right? Otherwise, I would have kind of gone down this road. And I'm fine with that. But I look at this and it's, for all standards that we see as photographers these days, this is grainy, it's out of focus, the composition isn't right, the
Right.
light's weird, right? And we'd be like, that's not going to get any views at all. And it's got 500. He's got 39,000 followers or whatever it is, 39,000 followers, and it's got 500 views. If this dude isn't getting views, right? What are
Yeah.
what are we doing, right? And does it even matter? Because no, it doesn't matter. Not at all. So when, I look at someone like Frank's work and it's got so much soul and depth and interest, and I'm fascinated. There's a picture that he has of Iggy Pop, and I'll just bring that back up so that we can see it. So this picture of Iggy Pop is
Gigs.
just crazy, right? It's unbelievable. It's so I could sit here and stare at this, and I'm not even an Iggy Pop fan, right? Stooges are great, but I'm like,
Right.
I look at this and I'm like, iconic is the only word that comes to mind. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, great photo, rock icon, phenomenal photographer, and 399 people like it. What
Yeah.
the hell are we doing bashing our heads against an algorithm when there's work that's being produced like this and still nobody's seeing it? What chance do we have? And I think for me, it's just releasing all of that expectation and just
Yep.
put your shit out there, because they're either
Yep.
going to see it or they're not. But with any following that I have, which is like my mom, an uncle,
Yeah.
right? It's about who follows
Yeah.
me, and they
Yeah,
don't
I get
even
a lot
like
of
my
that.
stuff. They just do it, right?
Yeah.
If I can't get the views and he can't get the views, what does it matter? Should we pay the gods to put our stuff out there? No, we don't need to do any of that. So it's been weighing on my mind recently about, as I look at your work and the way that you put it out and the things that you say, and I can feel that attitude of like, I don't care if you like this or not. I like this. I like this. I wish more people had a little bit of that attitude. Is there anybody else that you're looking at right now that is kind of like outside of yourself, that is like not getting the reach that you think should, right? Is there one or two artists out there that
Well,
that you
I
look at and
mean,
you're like, holy shit? Yeah.
I honestly try not to look as much as I can,
Yeah.
which it's kind of a one-sided selfish thing, selfish act there as well. But I feel that well, for one, if I Instagram I use for stupid cat videos. Like I don't like cats at all.
You've
As a matter
mentioned
of
this.
fact, I hate most cats, but I love watching cats overreacting and like cats being stupid.
You seen the
Like I
cucumber
giggle
videos?
yeah, oh my God, the cucumber videos. I can go on for days.
Days.
Like love it. And so I try to keep that's what Instagram is for. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
And I don't look at a lot of people's stuff. I mean, outside of, my book collection over
Sure.
here,
Sure.
which I would say, my favorite new book is Matt Black's new book, which is just wow, mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like he jumps on a bus for a couple months with a tiny little camera and a wide lux and like 30 rolls of film and just like let's see what a bus ride across America looks like.
Yeah.
And freaking amazing. American Geographic, I think, or American Geography. American Geography is the
By Matt
name of
Black.
it.
Yeah.
Matt Black, yeah, he's a Magnum photographer. He's just unreal, and I have one of his prints over here. Been a fan of him for a long time, so he's doing really good work. And I don't even know whether I follow him on Instagram. It's funny. It's like that's not that's an odd thing, right?
It's not, right? Because Instagram
Yeah.
isn't the end all be all of anything. I'm always curious, right? We all have our influences. I know that with Salgado's passing, you made this wonderful post about him because you were in an
Yeah.
exhibit, right?
Yeah.
There are all these artists that I think are magnificent that I know I discover new people every day, probably people that I should know, but at the same time, I'm like, how many millions of photographers are out there, right? How many millions
Oh,
of images are out there that we're never going to see, right? So I'm
yeah.
just always curious because I love my inspirations I love to understand what they're inspired by, right? And so Matt Black, I'm going to
Right.
have to check this out, American Geographic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
sounds
I mean,
amazing.
it's just beautiful documentary work. Yeah. Good shit.
All right. So we're at about an hour. I know that you're out of coffee, which is probably,
Did you see me look?
I did. And I saw, it's not only that I saw you look, I saw the dejection that came.
I know. I'm
It
like,
was a whole body depression that was just like, oh,
yeah.
magical bean juice is gone. And
Yeah.
maybe that's a good place for us to leave it. We didn't get a chance to do kind of any show and tell, and I'm afraid to do anything on this technically until we get some of the bugs sorted out in the gremlins.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Right.
maybe, I'm going to be doing these a couple times a week, and anytime you want to come back on, let's do this, and
Cool.
we'll take a look at some of the stuff that you've been doing in North Carolina. We'll take a look
Yeah.
at some of the other work that you're doing, maybe, just talk real nerdy film shit. But anything before I let you go, is there anything that you wish people would know about North Carolina? Anything we can do to help?
Oh man. There are all kinds of links for anybody to, send money or help. Um, I can't even think of any off the top of my head. It's like,
Still all the help
uh,
though. Still help is needed. And
yeah, I mean, if you Google it, there's a million different places
okay.
to help out. Yeah,
Okay. Um,
yeah,
well, thanks for kind of jumping on here. Uh,
yeah,
we'll do some
yeah.
fun
Thanks for
things.
having me. I appreciate it. I
And
love that you're trucking on doing this, man.
well, this is kind of my version of this is my version of you posting on Instagram. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there because it's fun to
Yep,
do. Why not, right?
yep,
And I'm also
yeah,
thinking, I'm like, I got an absolute shelf life as a photographer, but as
yeah,
long as the voice keeps working, I can do something like this. So
yeah. And you got the face for radio,
I
so
really, really do, and I appreciate you saying that. Not many people recognize that, so I really thank you for the
I'm
support.
kidding. You're stunning. You're fucking stunning, Matt. You're fucking stunning.
Shut up, you bearded
Yeah,
wonder. All right, go
yeah,
get some coffee. Thank you, my friend.
yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. If you even zoomed in and watched, but yeah,
Nobody's watching
no
this.
one's watching this. All right.
No,
Well, in that
no.
case, then I'll just say goodbye.
Okay.
Later, my friend.
Bye
Bye.
bye.